Dear friends, I'd like to welcome you to the 7th Annual Heroes Breakfast, presented by Fred Meyer and your local chapter of the American Red Cross. My name is Tom Farley. I'm the Executive Director of the local Red Cross, the Oregon Mountain River chapter. I have the privilege of working with volunteers and staff to support this mission in Central Oregon. Your Oregon Mountain River chapter serves nearly 13,000 people each year and allows us to collect more than 18,000 units of blood in Deschutes, Jefferson, Crook, Wheeler, Grant, and Harney counties, along with the Confederated Tribes of Warm Springs. We hope you enjoy the opportunity to go through our vignettes to see firsthand the 5 areas we work at in the Red Cross. Thank you for joining us this morning to honor the courage and compassion of some very special individuals in our communities and to provide critical support to your local Red Cross. We have one special guest who's not on the program, the Chief Officer of the Red Cross in Oregon, Marie Wacker. If she would stand. Where's he? Thanks very much for braving the pass to come over to Central Oregon. I'd like to welcome to our stage Dave Jones, who has hosted the Heroes event since year 1. I think it's safe to say that it wouldn't be a Heroes breakfast without Dave.
Thank you very much. Oh, I think it would be a Heroes breakfast, Stephen, without me. It is great to be back, and I didn't realize that it was year 1. This is the 7th year. It's such a great event, and when I'm asked if I would come back and help out, it's always an easy yes, because I really believe in the Red Cross mission. I'm involved beyond this particular event. In fact, through this particular event, I kind of upped my involvement and am serving as much as I can. Last night, my son called, and we were talking about the Blazer game, which we do generally after they win, and they did last night. And he said, "What are you doing tomorrow?" And I said, "Oh, I got to get up early. I've got the Red Cross Heroes breakfast." And he knows I'm involved, but he's never before said anything about it. And he said, "Hey, let me know when next time they have one of those blood drives out in the public." I said, "Really? Okay, why?" He goes, "Well, because I think I'd like to start giving blood." And I said, "Well, you know, you don't have to wait for a special event." So I gave him the address and gave him the hours of the office. So maybe there's another hero in the making, a real hero maybe in the making from the Jones family. But it is great to be back and see a lot of familiar faces, folks who have been here from year 1, and lots of new faces too. Looking forward to honoring these local heroes. To start things off, the Oregon Youth National Drill Team will perform a marching demonstration and a color guard this morning. The Oregon National Guard Youth Program is an alternative residential high school where the students live on site for 5 months while attending a military model school, followed by a 12-month mentor phase back into the community. And the program is guided by military principles, as you will see. There is structure and discipline. And so at this moment, would you please join me in welcoming the cadets? Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you very much to the Color Guard. At this time, we've asked Rhonda Etnier, the Redmond store manager, to say a few words on behalf of our presenting sponsor, Fred Meyer, a company that supports local heroes events just like this one at all 5 Oregon Red Cross chapters. Rhonda?
Good morning. Welcome to the 7th Annual American Red Cross Heroes Breakfast. Fred Meyer is proud to sponsor such a great organization that impacts so many lives both directly and indirectly by the various programs and services that it provides. You will hear stories today about people who are just like you, who have sacrificed their own well-being and comfort to save the lives of others. You too can have an impact on the lives of others by simply donating blood or supporting the American Red Cross financially. Thank you for being here today and for your support, your continued support of the American Red Cross.
Thank you, Rhonda, and thanks to Fred Meyer. Before we begin the program, I want to acknowledge the fact that this room this morning holds many special guests in order to honor the special role each of you play, and without spending several hours listing each name, we'd like you to give a round of applause for yourselves this morning for joining us here today. We very much appreciate the support of the sponsors and the folks who contribute to the event, and they're listed on the back page of your program. Heroism occurs in many places: on the battlefield, at work, in the classroom, at blood drives, in clinics, on local highways, in the community, maybe on vacation, even on horseback. What is common about heroes is that they give of themselves selflessly for the benefit of another. Today, you are going to meet heroes who have literally saved people's lives, directly or indirectly, who have made our community a better place to live and have made a positive and changing impact on people in need. The Red Cross volunteers in the Oregon Mountain River chapter are trained and ready to come to the aid of disaster victims anywhere and any time a disaster strikes. Red Cross volunteers come to the assistance of military families every day when an emergency message needs to be shared with their loved ones serving our country in faraway lands. Red Cross trained instructors teach life-saving and safety classes to thousands of local people every year, and as you will hear this morning, that training saves lives. Every day, heroes donate life-saving blood. And today you are presented with an opportunity to honor and support these extraordinary heroes and to support the heroes of the American Red Cross. You can help the Red Cross support those in our community when they need it the most to ensure that our community is a safe place to live and a better place to live. We invite you now to sit back and listen to those 7 stories of exceptional heroism, courage, and human kindness. You can follow these stories in your program as we present the 2011 Oregon Mountain River Chapter's Heroes. Yes. Caring for Troops is a Central Oregon nonprofit organization started way back in 2003 by two local citizens who wanted to make a personal contribution to the welfare of our fighting men and women overseas. Dianne Brock and Dan Hulbert met in March of 2003 at a meeting of the Central Oregon Veterans Council as Dianne was trying to organize a rally for those first brave young men and women being deployed to Iraq for Operation Enduring Freedom. This deployment included Dianne's Marine son, Casey Brock. With the help of Dan Hulbert, who was himself a Marine who served in Desert Storm, and many others, the rally for the Central Oregon troops occurred on April 5th, 2003. Based on his own experience in Iraq, Dan came up with the idea of sending care packages to the troops, and he had been assembling the first care packages in his garage. A nonprofit organization, Caring for Troops, was being born. Since then, with significant community support, thousands of packages have been shipped to our Oregon troops serving overseas.
Well, I think Caring for Troops was an important thing to start because it was such an important thing for me when I was a Marine to get support.
This all came about, it was spring, probably March of 2003, and our son is a lieutenant in the Marines, and he was deployed to Iraq.
After the first few months of running Caring for Troops, it didn't even have a name at the time, out of my garage, I was overwhelmed, and I knew that this is a community thing and I needed help. And I was invited to a Central Oregon Veterans Council.
And a man named Dan Hulbert went at the same time. And it was the first time I'd met Dan, and my vision was the rally, his vision was care packages. That was the beginning. We decided to get together, and we had on April 5th, 2003, a rally in support of the troops in the old Mountain View Mall.
It was a phenomenal feeling to see it grow. I kind of liken it to having a baby. I mean, you start with this, tiny thing, and you see it grow. We started with a few volunteers, and we turn it into a volunteer organization, and then it turns into a nonprofit organization. Just about every package that we would ship out, we'd put in a blank postcard, and the troops had the ability to ship those postcards back to us, and we received hundreds of postcards and letters from our troops.
Please welcome Dianne Brock and Dan Hulbert. We have some special plaques. Oregon Mountain River Chapter, Dan Hulbert, hero, and Dianne Brock, hero. Sir. Let me ask you, when you started this back in 2003, did you imagine it would grow to what it is today, Dan?
Never. I never thought this. I just remember praying with my wife in the living room. If this is God's will, this is going to take on what He wants it to be. And I never imagined it being like this. Just being here so many years later, and thousands of packages to our troops, and the strength of the organization with the new president, Betsy Johnson, doing a wonderful job, and just a phenomenal experience.
Well, it doesn't just happen. It takes a hero to get it started. Dianne, what is the status of the group today?
We are sending over 75 packages still right now. And so we have the need for lots of support. We are a nonprofit. 75 packages means a lot of product and a lot of postage. But I just like to get a little plug in. Our biggest challenge always is accessing names because of privacy issues. Recruiters can't give us names, and we just hate it when we don't know that somebody's deployed and they miss out on packages from the community. Because that's what the package is a message to our local deployed military personnel that we just haven't forgotten you. We're thinking of you. We wish you well. So if you have know of anyone who's deployed, get on our website, caringfortroops.com, and you can sign them right up on that website. And all they have to do is have a connection to Central Oregon.
All right. Well, thank you both very much for everything you've done. Dan Hulbert and Dianne Brock. If you didn't get that website, just contact the folks at the American Red Cross and they'll put you in touch with Caring for Troops. November 11th of last year seemed like any other day when Tina Countryman and co-worker Sylvia Aker went to work at Shasta Administrative Services in Redmond. Another co-worker, Teresa Simpson, was 7 months pregnant. This was Teresa's first baby. And as the lunch hour approached that day, she went into labor in the bathroom. She started yelling, as you might imagine, for help. Co-worker Tina Countryman was nearby. Tina entered the restroom, found Teresa in one of the stalls, and called out for someone to call 911. Another co-worker sought out Sylvia Aker, a nurse on site doing medical reviews. And while Tina held and comforted Teresa, keeping her calm and staying on the phone with the 911 operator, Sylvia delivered her baby. The baby boy, Prescott Roger Simpson, was born in a breech position and not breathing. Sylvia applied CPR to the 2.5-pound infant, and he started to breathe just as paramedics arrived.
Rhea, the lady that had the baby, she was complaining, saying the baby was doing somersaults a lot. Next thing we heard yelling. We weren't for sure what she was doing or anything, so I was the first person in there to check on her. And she was hollering that a foot was coming out.
My biggest concern was getting the baby out so he could breathe. Or she, I didn't at that point even know what it was. But that was my concern. So then I just went down and started from there.
Bring mother's bottom to the edge of the bed or the floor close to the towel and tell the mother to grab her knees and pull them to her chest, okay?
Okay, grab your knees and push to your chest. Grab two knees. Yes.
Okay, let me know. Okay.
The baby's out. The baby's
out?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
And then of course his eyes were closed. He wasn't moving. So I was pretty concerned about that. So that's when I started doing CPR on him.
It just went step by step, and the baby started breathing. Sylvia had to give him mouth to mouth, and as soon as she was done, the ambulance got there.
People have asked me if I was scared. I wasn't. I don't think you have time to be scared. The outcome, I mean, he's a healthy little boy. He didn't have any cardiac or lung or brain problems, which is, speaks to the people who are taking care of him over in the nursery, that's for sure. But I just saw him a couple of weeks ago, and he's just a doll. He's just a beautiful little baby boy.
And now just 4.5 months later, Preston, Teresa, and husband Shelby are with us today to honor Tina and Sylvia. Preston, Teresa, and Shelby, will you stand so we can say hello to you? Right here in the middle table. Great to have you here. Thanks for coming. And now, ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome Sylvia Aker and Tina Countryman. Well, that is impressive. You get nervous just listening to that phone call, but you're a nurse. You just snapped into action. What is that about you or nurses where you see a need and you immediately address it?
Well, you just, I don't remember just thinking about it. I went in there and the baby was part way out, and you just go from there.
When you you go from there, it's easy. Anybody could do it. When you went to work that day, did you think that something like that might happen?
No, I worked in the hospital. Never delivered a baby when I was working in the hospital.
Really?
No.
Wow. So this was the first baby you ever delivered?
Yes, I took care of the little ones like that when I was a nurse, but I didn't deliver them.
Wow. That is amazing. So you're not a medical person, and my first instinct would be to run and find somebody like Sylvia to do that. So you stayed at what was that experience like for you?
You didn't think, you just acted. She was in need, so I just helped.
Well, a huge help and a great story. You're both heroes.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us this morning. Tina Countryman and Sylvia Aker.